Hi guys, welcome back. In our last video we left off at this point where we went through the, just a quick reminder there, went through the layout of the IDE itself and how we got to this point. And you can see here I have two controls on my grid. One is a button called click, and the second is a text box, or a text block, should I say, not text block box, a text block. And what I want to happen now is when I click the button, that the actual something will appear here in the text block. Now that is it's what's known as an event, okay, and it's going to happen under when I click the button, and that's known as a click event. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the actual button itself. So when I double click the button, okay, notice what happens here. I'm brought to mainpage.xaml.cs. Okay, I'm just going to unpin the toolbox here because I won't see it here, just so it will allow me to make the text a little bit bigger on the page. Okay, so here I have what's called a C# page. Now remember at the start in the last video we said mainpage.xaml, and we looked at that, and then I said there was one here called mainpage.xaml.cs. That's the one we're looking at now. Again, the other one hasn't disappeared. If I click on my tabs at the top, you can still see I'm here exactly where I was left off. But when I click on the C page, now this is the page which will hold all of the code that's going to provide functionality to your actual mobile phone page. Now remember here with the layout, all we're doing here is, on this GUI, is layout, and again the XAML page behind it is just the code that lays out the page. But our main page .cs, is actually the functionality, okay, and that's written in C#. Let's just have a quick look here. You can see here I have a load of using statements at the top. Again, when the application was built, C# decided, well, these are all the things we need from the .NET framework in order to run this application. You can see here we've namespace intro. I'll come to that again later on. And my class, my public class, the main page itself. And down here you can see I have a private void method here, and it's called button click underscore click. So this is the name of the control, and underscore when it's clicked. So when it's clicked, it's going to initiate the code between this opening brace and this closing brace. So that will fire off the code that's in between. So when the button is clicked, this will fire off. So what do I want to happen? Again, I have my control here called LBL display. You can see it here. I renamed it LBL display. Okay, I want that to show some text, hello world or whatever. Okay, so let's call the control. So once I type in LB, you can see there I get what's called IntelliText, and you can see there it's a text block, and okay, it's on the main page and it's LBL display. Okay, and now what I can do is either tab or click on that just to show. It's a good idea to get used to working with IntelliText, because you'll avoid any kind of typos and stuff like that. So LBL display is the control. Now the contents of that, or property if you want to say, again I can use my dot notation here in C#, and when I hit that I get all of the things that are associated with, or all the goodies that are I can do are involved with the actual that particular control. Again, notice anything here I see with a little pink icon here, like add handler or arrange. These are known as methods. We'll come to those later on. And actual height and width, again, these are properties of that. Now what I want is the contents of it, which is text. So I'll just hit the T on the keyboard, brings me down to the T's, and again I can click on text and put that in. Okay, so I'm going to set that to, and again from our programming language here, set to is just an equal to sign, and I'm going to set that to a string saying hello world. Hello world. Okay, again all strings will go between a set of inverted commas, and I'll terminate the line with a semicolon. Now notice here in Microsoft being Microsoft, it actually has green underlying and red underlines. Now if you're used to using something like Microsoft Word, Again, whenever you had a red underline, it was a misspelling. Okay, and if you had a green underline, it was a grammatical error. However, in C#, the IDE, the red line means a fatal error, and the green underline means it's an error, but it's not fatal. So let's create a fatal error here. If I see the way that's a capital T in text, if I make that a lowercase t, okay, and just click off, you can see there that the text, txt text, again has a red squiggly line under it. Again means that there is no lowercase text as a property of LBL display. That's what's actually it's telling me there. And again, if you mouse over the red line, it actually tells you what it is. Now again, sometimes it takes you a while to get used to this, the actual messages that you're given here. Sometimes they're a little bit cryptic, but I suggest every time you get a red line under something is to try deal with it straight away, because they could compound errors further on down the application. Okay, so there's that. Now, in order to see this or run it, what I'm going to do is use the Windows Phone emulator. And again, the Windows Phone emulator in this IDE is quite good. To get that, or debugging, you can see start debugging. I can hit F5 or hit this icon up here, which is start debugging, or the play button, if you want to call it that. And if I click that, the actual, I'm just getting here about the graphics card, just say yes to that. Okay, and let the emulator load up. Okay, so there it is. It's I've just paused it there while it's loading up. Okay, so again, let's look at here. So you can see here I have something in Joe Blogs, and here's my click button or my click event. And if I click on that, okay, I can see Hello World. And notice there that the Hello World is coming up in red text, and the font style is Comic Sans. If you remember there on the first video when we put in the control, we went over to the properties and set those up at that. Again, you could always change that by going back into the properties on the GUI and changing the actual how that will display. Again, if I ever want to get back to the Windows screen, I could just click the Windows icon here, and you can see here I have a Windows Explorer if I want to use Windows Explorer, and this little button here, okay, will show me the actual intro. That's the what I've called the application, and I have settings here as well. Again, settings is how something is displayed. If I click on settings, you can see there I can change various things like the date and time. You can see I have the date and time set to Dublin. Keyboard is English. Again, I can change the region. I have United States there. I can change that to whatever. That load up. Okay, and I'm going to change it to the closest, which is United Kingdom. Okay, happy enough there, and like so. I can always go back, okay, change the theme if I like, and you can see there the background dark. I can set that to light, okay, or else the accent color is red. I can set that to whatever, brown, blue, or whatever. Okay, again, I can always click back and go home to the home button here. So the Windows emulator is quite powerful. Again, if I want to stop running that, again, sorry, here's my emulator, just move it over here to the side a little bit. Notice here we have a few controls here, close and minimize and that, enlarge and zoom, and a few more there as well. I'll just pop that out. Okay, just take that off. Again, I don't want to use that just at this point. The accelerometer, that will come to that. Okay, over here, right beside you can see here that the debugging or the is actually grayed out because the actual is still running. If I want to stop that running, there's a little rectangle here, stop debugging, or Shift F5, and if I click that, notice the way I'm back to my page here. The emulator is still running. The emulator is still running, but the or sorry, should I say open, but the actual application is not running anymore. Okay, so again, this is our first application. Okay, sorry, just running a tad slow there. This is our first application. Okay, and again, I'm just going to put back my toolbar here. Okay, and in our next one here, we'll look at collecting data actually from the user. Thank you for your attention.